Arthur, thank you very much for coming to our event. So let me introduce yourself. Your name is Arthur Goldhammer. You are senior affiliate of the Center for European Studies at Harvard.
Right.
You are also in France officier des arts et des lettres.
Oui, c'est ça.
Because you are a great translator of traditional French authors.
More than 100 books I've translated from French.
From Camus.
From Camus, Tocqueville.
Tocqueville, because of the US.
Georges Duby, Jacques Le Goff, tous les grands historiens.
And more recently, you have translated Thomas Piketty
oui.
for the 21st century history of prediction. So when we're talking about prediction, we always wonder in France, and I guess around the world, how does it happen that Mr. Trump become the 45th president of the United States?
Well, that's an excellent question. One could give 1,001 explanations, and none of them would be entirely satisfactory. There's a very lively debate in my country about the reasons for Trump's victory. And I think, although there are many different positions in this debate, you could summarize them by classing them in two different camps. One is an economic explanation, and the other is a more social explanation having to do with racial tensions and tensions around feminism and the place of women in society. For the economic explanation, there are several factors that are involved. One is the loss of jobs, particularly in manufacturing industries. Another is the stagnation of wages and incomes for the working class and the lower portion of the middle class, which has been going on now for 30 years. And then the third factor is the growth of wealth and income inequalities, which Thomas Piketty and others described. So that's the situation in that camp. In the other camp, people argue that what you see in the election of Trump is a reaction against the presidency of Barack Obama, the first African-American president that we've had, and then the fact that the Democrats nominated to be his successor a woman. So there is resentment on the part of a segment of the population against both a black president and the potential for a woman president.
So in other words, you mean combination of globalization impact and social impact due to globalization. So to know chicken and eggs, at the end it's globalization issues.
They are all globalization issues in a sense, although the racial issue in the United States goes way back before globalization, and the issue of feminism in the United States also, I think, predates globalization. There's been a backlash against both of those, but I think you're quite right to point out that it's both of those phenomena mix with the effects of globalization on the economy.
Regarding the potential divisions into Donald Trump's team, because we always wonder, due to its personality, what kind of solidarity can he expect, or what kind of divisions can be raised in the future?
Right. Well, I think you have to start by saying that Donald Trump is not a good fit with his own party. He is not necessarily in favor of a small government, as the Republicans have been for many years now. His main issue is to bring back jobs to the United States. And his proposed way of doing that, he has two proposals. One is to raise tariff barriers against low-wage exporters like the Chinese. And the other is to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure. Those proposals don't necessarily mesh with the positions of the Republican Party. There's a great potential for division down the road between Trump and some of the more political actors he's nominated to his cabinet. Some of the people in his cabinet come from the financial world or the business world. They're likely to be more in sympathy with Trump. But the political players, people like Jeff Sessions and Elizabeth Chow, who's married to the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, Ryan Zinke at the Interior Department. Those people are from the Tea Party wing of the Republican Party. And they tend to be free traders, not protectionists, and are not in favor of more government spending. If Trump really spends $1 trillion, that could lead to a split.
But in addition to to a certain degree, it's back to the doctrine Monroe, United States for American citizens. Do you think that its personality could change? Because we saw in the past that many people, when they come in power, their personality were quite different from what they were before.
Well, yes, one might hope that the presidency would sober him up and calm him down. But my wife is a psychiatrist, and she often says that the thing in the world that's least likely to change is a man's character. And Donald Trump has just scored a tremendous and surprising victory. He did things his own way without accepting the advice of his advisors. He's a man who doesn't read very much, who listens to only a small circle of people around him, many of them from his own family. So it's hard to see where the influences are that will come to change him. What could happen, though, is that he will finally run into an opposition that he can't simply crush or roll over, as he did with his Republican rivals in the primary. We saw on Saturday the largest demonstrations in U.S. history, and this is at the very beginning of his pregnancy. So for someone of my age, it reminds me of the era of the Vietnam War, the last time you had major street protests in the United States. So something like that could force him to change his attitude, if not his character at a deeper level. One never knows about character.
So maybe the flower power is back, or will be back. But given these deep conflicts, how do you think that the institutional organization will react?
Right. Well, I think the first thing you have to say about American institutions is that we usually rely on what's called checks and balances, the separation of powers in our government, to slow down an executive who has too large ideas, is too ambitious for the changes that he wants to bring about. But that's unlikely to come into play in the current situation because the Republicans control not only the White House, but also the Senate and the House of Representatives, and they will soon have control of the Supreme Court. There's an empty seat. Trump will appoint a very conservative justice, we're sure, and there's likely to be another resignation from the Supreme Court within the first 2 years. So there's really nothing at the governmental level to stop Trump. There are some independent agencies within the government that have some power to push back if they don't like the direction that he's going. But I think the major opposition, the major counterpower, will come from a rejuvenated Democratic Party, re-energized by the demonstrations in the streets that we saw this weekend.
Let's hope for better days, I would say. And I guess that tonight we will have great debate with our people coming to hear what you want to tell us. Okay. So thank you very much, Indeed, Arthur.
Thank you. I look forward to the debate this evening.